Hey everybody, this is Lynn again from A Bit of Birdsong. I am not trying to overwhelm everyone with videos today, but as I've already said, I'm off work today and I wanted to just finish up a few things that I completed over the weekend, and then I'm going to be sharing the rest of the day with my sweetheart. So I wanted to show you this little fabric journal. I love making these. Right away you can probably tell from the front. This is a Japanese themed mini fabric journal, and this beautiful button on the front. Ava sent me this in the package of Happy Mail, and I still have one button for myself, but this just ended up being so beautiful on the front of this. I love Japanese gardens. It is my hope to incorporate some elements of Japanese gardening into my little fenced-in garden in the backyard. That garden is definitely a work in progress, and I have a lot more I need to do to it. It's young yet. So I will just show you this, and this is going into the shop in just a little bit. It ties, of course, with the button and this bright trim. And then on the back we have the little piece of lace that says "A Bit of Japan." There are a lot of beautiful, beautiful journal cards in this one. Now, some of these I know exactly where they came from, and some I'm really not sure. It is my belief that they're all in the public domain, but there are a few that I'm not totally sure about. These are old pieces of artwork, and I have just created 2 digital pages that are in the shop currently if you choose to make anything that's Japanese related, and I did double check that all of these artworks are in the public domain, and I listed all the artists so that they get credit, even though they're no longer with us, but they deserve the credit for their work. And these are 2 of the cards. They're just beautiful, beautiful images. There's a charm that I made. I love the glass beads. They're so beautiful. All of the fabric, you can see that's one of the, I showed this in a recent video of the fabric I've purchased recently, and that is very Asian looking to me. The gold, the dragonfly. I love this beautiful bright leaf on the green fabric. In the background you can see the beautiful gold and the flowers. I'll show you a jewelry box that I have from my mom that was given to her when she was very, very young by her sister. I've always liked Japanese decor and gardens and just the look of their culture. It's very beautiful. This is one of the pieces of artwork that is in the journal cards, as well as this, and this is something that I painted. That's Japanese ink painting. It's called Sumi-e. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure. This is one of the cards I'm not sure about. That's a vintage beer ad. This is one of the paintings that is in the little journal card set. There is a dragonfly charm. Again, that just makes me think of the Japanese garden. And just look at the beautiful geisha girl. This is in the journal set. That is a painting of a money plant in a Japanese jug. Kind of a dark painting, but just the technique and getting those little seeds, or I guess they're seed pods from after the plant flowers. I used to have that in my garden, and it's a plant that I really love. It reseeds easily, but just getting that white in the background so dark and it looks so shiny, that's really, really pretty. And there is another image that is in the cards, the journal cards. That is a Japanese garden. And again, more beautiful fabric. And there are some beautiful images. This is actually a painting. It's called Camille Monet in Japanese. I can't remember if it said garment or kimono, but that's by Claude Monet, of course, and I will have, again, the credits listed for all of these beautiful artworks. Not sure about that one. These are all vintage ads, I believe. Well, these two are. And again, I'm not certain about these. This is one of the vintage or antique paintings that's in the journal card set. This is a Japanese tea house. This card is included in the set of cards that I have listed in my shop. All of these cards will remain in the journal. This, I believe, is a vintage image from the Graphics Fairy, and it is from a vintage postcard. And you can see another little charm in here. This charm came in the Happy Mail from Alejandrina. She sent a couple of bags of beautiful metal pieces and charms. I think I skipped over that charm. There's another beaded charm that I made. There's another one of those. And that is a vintage painting that's in the journal cards. And another couple of images. That one is included in the digital download. And you do not have to purchase the digital download at all. The only reason I'm differentiating is that some of these images, again, I am sure they're in the public domain, and I felt comfortable putting those into a digital collage set. Some of these, they show up as being in public domain, but I can't verify dates or, owners or whatever, so I don't feel comfortable putting those in a digital download. Just beautiful images. There's a Kabuki theater image. Another old ad. That's beautiful. I believe that's from a postcard. That's from an old painting. Another charm that I made. So here is the jewelry box that I wanted to show you. This was given to my mom by her sister when she was very young. I mean, like maybe 18. So that would have been well over 50 years ago. And the little dancer inside is missing at this point. But that needs to be cleaned. It's such a pretty piece. I love this. Makes me think of my mama. The last thing I want to show you for now, and I may have gotten a little carried away, PinkOddBird. I love her channel. April at PinkOddBird issued a challenge to use up paper. I believe the time frame for getting involved in that challenge is closed, but she gave 30 days to complete what you committed to do, which was to use a full paper pack or your choice of paper that you've already got on hand and just to use it up. So I, over the weekend, decided to complete that challenge. I had a large paper pack. The paper is called Ooh La La, and it's by Craftsmith. I honestly can't remember if that came from AC Moore or Michael's. It was probably one of the two shops. But all of these are going into my Etsy shop today, and I just really used up some paper. I had several copies of this periodic table of the elements, and I decided in these to put just plain white paper. It's not super bright, so it's easier to write on. It's 24-pound paper. Each one of these has 15 pages, which gives 30 writing pages inside. And then, of course, they're just hand sewn with the string in the center. You could decide to put a charm on that, cut them down, whatever you want to do with those. I also, in using up this paper book or stack, I decided to go ahead and use a lot of the vintage paper collection that I had, because I find that it stacks up and doesn't get used. This paper is awesome. It feels like a very expensive stationery type paper. Feels like it might even have some fabric fiber in it. You can see the little red lines. Some of the others are a mixture of papers. Like this one, it has graph paper, it has green paper, there's some 20-pound white paper, and more of the beige or tan, not graph paper, but ledger paper. So a lot of these are a mix of paper to use up the rest of that fabric pack. Paper pack. So just a mixture of paper and colors. They're just really fun. They're not overly embellished. I have to have something in my traveler's notebook that is sort of plain. I do love highly embellished journals, but I also like very plain journals for writing, especially my business journals or my to-do journals. It looks like this one has mostly green, and I think I saw some yellow in there. Yeah, the ledger paper. So these just turned out really pretty. There's different colors of embroidery thread in some of them. And there's another with that cover. Everyone has my little bird on the front, birdsong stamped on the back, and the little bird is the only embellishment. There's one on every page, I believe, unless I missed a page. Let's see, that has a mix of paper, I believe. Yes, this one is fun. It is mostly the coral colored paper, and I think the opening sheet is just ledger paper, but everything else is that beautiful coral paper. And then we get into this entire set here. So there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of these journals. Again, they only have the 24-pound white paper. It's very good for double-sided printing, so it's good to write on each side. It's not super bright. Again, birdsong is stamped. The little bird here, the only embellishment is the little bird throughout. Some of them have different stamps on the front, and each one is stamped on the back. Of course, when you hand make things like this, there are little imperfections, which to me are to be embraced, I think. And I'll see if I can find one to show you. For instance, on this one, you can see a tiny bit of ink around the little the legs of the bird. But to me, it almost looks like a little stretch of ground. So that was a happy accident. That one's fine. This one had a couple of little stray ink spots, which it doesn't change the journal at all. Those are the little imperfections, though, that make it to me more special because they're completely handmade. Everything. Cutting the paper, folding it, stitching the pages in, designing it, stamping it, and then listing it. So, April, this was wonderful. I am so grateful that you did this challenge, and this is what I needed to get in gear and use some of this paper up. So the rest of this stack is completely gone, and I loved it, but I'm glad that paper pack is done. I feel better about moving on to something else, and I know I recently said that I'm going to not buy anything new unless it's an absolute necessity until I use up a lot of what I have on hand. And this really helped me in that regard. So I can check that challenge off the list. And these are going into the shop right now, as is the little A Bit of Japan journal. And I will see you all later. Thank you for watching. Bye.